Hey everyone, happy day 19 of Brain Injury Awareness Month. So Patrick and I just got back from therapy. He had a great session. However, somehow when we left therapy, emotions were running high and not in a good way. This is really common with brain injury. It's like you had a great day and then in the blink of an eye, suddenly everything just unravels around you and there's what we like to call TBI Rage. I knew as soon as we got into the car he was going to lose it, and he got in the car and he lost it because he was given homework that has to deal with problem solving and a lot of the word problems that dealt with math. We're musicians.
Yeah.
I know there are musicians out there that are supposedly great at math, and they say if you're good at music, you're good at math. For us,
No,
we're terrible at math. And as soon as we got in the car, he explodes. TBI Rage is usually sudden and quick, and always to a non-brain injured person, you're like, wow, you're freaking out over nothing. It's not nothing. It's a big deal. We can't underestimate enough that there are a lot of survivors who deal with it far, far, far worse than Patrick and I do. Sometimes there's even abuse in the home, and I just can't imagine living with anything like that. What I've learned is that when Patrick's freaking out and he's in a fit like that, instead of just hearing the angry words, I try to hear the unspoken words behind the anger. Because what I think he's really saying is, I'm frustrated, I'm vulnerable, I feel threatened, I'm insecure, I'm hurt, and it's usually one of those things. So what I try to do is diffuse the anger. Sometimes I can diffuse the anger with humor, and that's always a great day. Other times I can diffuse the humor just by changing the subject.
diffuse the humor.
Diffuse the anger. You don't want to diffuse humor. Humor's our friend. What works best, honestly, is for us to have a talk about it. Now, I know this doesn't work for a lot of people because it depends on where you're at in your recovery. We can only speak to our own experience. We had a very intimate conversation about it, and I could see all of the anger just draining out of his body. I feel like we're getting much better at learning how to handle it. All right, Patrick, your turn. Talk a little bit about what it feels like when the rage comes. I mean, do you feel it building, or is it literally just like a lightning bolt, like it just strikes?
It builds until the initial reason for it
Causes it to explode. Is it controllable, or do you feel like you're out of control?
It's not really that controllable.
And how do you feel after?
Like I'm weird.
Not so good.
No.
Right. These fits of rage are not, they're not intentional. I mean, it's a very fine line to walk, because like we said, we don't want any survivors and caregivers in situations where they feel like they're in danger. I don't really ever feel that way.
It's not a direction towards her.
No.
She just happens to be there.
Right.
Somebody I can talk to.
There's no calling me names and saying mean things to me. A lot of people with brain injury,
That's crazy.
They do, unfortunately, do that to their caregivers. I don't experience that at all. It's really self-directed rage more than anything. Do you feel like you have any solutions on how to deal with it?
John.
Okay. He mentioned his neuropsychologist, and we're going to leave that for another day and talk about neuropsychology and how it's really helpful in dealing with all sorts of things after brain injury.
Yoga.
Yes.
Yoga.
Patrick and I have recently started taking a private yoga class together once a week. It's helping us quite a bit. What did we do today when you were getting mad? I told you to
Take a breath.
take a breath.
Take a breath.
He didn't want to do it, but then he did, and we took together 2 deep breaths, because I need to ground myself too. I feel like I'm going to lose it. One last thing we wanted to share is that earlier today in the morning, we're having a great morning, everything's going fine, and within a moment, this happens. Boom. Drums collapse. I lost my shiz. I'm over there, we're late to therapy, I'm trying to hold up one side of the drums, he's trying to hold it up, I'm trying to screw the thing back in, he's telling me to unscrew screws, we can't find the directions, I'm worried the whole thing's gonna break, but I'm the one that lost it. I'm yelling and making a fuss, and I will tell you, he was completely calm.
No, because that's a kind of circumstance where, nothing actually is directed at me.
Right. Nothing's making you feel threatened.
No, I don't interpret it that way.
Right.
However, if I'm getting all these weird questions from my OT today, all these problem-solving questions, it's always this person, therefore, is doing this and this for this much money. It's I don't know any of this stuff. Who the hell would answer that?
You have to count any little victory and make sure you mark it down and celebrate it. So the fact that this morning went so well, victory. The fact that Patrick was able to be there for me while I was losing it over something like the drums collapsing, that's a victory. So make sure you count those because, you know, people say that brain injuries make marathons look like sprints, and that's correct. I'm off to work. Patrick's gonna do what he does best, which is laundry.
I'm on it.
Peace.